one bound in order, the other wild in spirit. We, the Shadow Realm, will prevail. We will weave our essence into their fabric, unseen, unheard, until the moment of grand revelation. They will resist, but in the end, they will thank us. We shall have our enemies feast with us in a world unshackled, reborn in the spirit of Halloween.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to EMP.Money. My name is AJ, I am the team lead here, and this is our live AMA. We come to you every Monday and Thursday at 6:45 p.m. Eastern, unless it's like today, we are coming to you on a Tuesday. We had to move some things around because I am doing one of my infamous Disney bathroom AMAs. So, even on a little bit of a family vacation, we have to get the info out there and we never take a break. So happy to be here. Lots to go over. Before we get into all of that, I want to introduce my co-host with the most and fellow team member, LA. LA, how are you?
I am good. It has been so busy and jam-packed. We are in the thick of it. We love it, and happy to be here.
Yeah, no doubt. We had a little impromptu uh, excuse me, a little impromptu AMA train. We've been on calls nonstop. We've been putting in 18-hour days. It's been insane, right, LA? But some
Yeah.
incredible results.
Yeah, AJ ended up on, when was that? Uh,
I
a
know all
day
the
ago,
days
two
are
days
running
ago?
together. Yeah, I think
AJ was
two
on
days
a
ago.
little AMA train on Sunday night. It was unplanned and it ended up working out that way. We were with Silverback's group. We were with a private whale group, and then we were with a new uh, how would you call him? Uh,
Yeah, a
a
new
professional
influencer, new
gamer.
channel. Yeah,
Yeah, Brown Gent. He ended up being fantastic, so we're really happy to be acquainted with him as well. So, yeah, it was a great night.
yeah, 100%. And if you haven't seen that particular AMA, we'll go into a lot of this today. But the Brown Gent used to be a professional Magic the Gathering player, which for those that don't know, the Universe Madness is very heavily based on the original, TGC or trading card game Magic the Gathering, and he had a lot of amazing insights. So definitely go watch that. Even if you don't really care about the game, that was like an amazing perspective of what has worked and what hasn't, right, LA?
Yeah, I feel like I've watched it twice now. I feel like I learned so much about gaming from that AMA, and uh, today when I was watching it for the second time, I wrote down a lot of things that just really clicked for me about why some of the decisions were made about our game and why it's just so incredibly bullish. And things like this light bulb just went off in my head, and I just got furiously typing away about an article I want to write, because it just all like it. I had all these pieces, and they just connected all of a sudden. Listening to it for the second time, it was amazing.
I love it. Yeah, 100%. And again, I think you are, I don't want to steal your thunder, LA, but we're putting out a Medium article loosely based on that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. So keep an eye out for all that. Oh, again, we have a lot to get to today. I'm going to try to get to all of it, LA. I may rely on you a little bit more to go through the notes and then I can expand. Just been pushing really hard and want to make sure I can save my voice for the rest of the AMAs we have scheduled. But that being said, we're going to just kick things off. Before we do, though, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. The more engagement, the more the YouTube algorithm likes what we're doing, and that means more eyeballs on our ecosystem. So please make sure to do that. And yeah, let's go ahead and jump right in. So we're gonna start with Fusion, and then the majority of today will be about Honor versus Madness. But Fusion is plugging right along. I mean, obviously we've seen Peg fluctuate and the price of Ether fluctuate as well, but everything is still going according to plan. I mean, obviously we would love to see Peg getting back faster, but we've seen it on many other instances where we take an elevator up and an elevator down, meaning it's not sustainable. So the whole point is we're slowly going to recover Peg. Every day, we have new users and even the treasury itself buying and burning EMP. You can see it on chain. There is more and more EMP going into Fusion every day, and all of that is the game plan for getting back to Peg. And so it may not be something that happens overnight, but the more that we can burn and lock away in terms of supply, the easier and more sustainable Peg and the price of EMP becomes. So I know people still get a bit impatient, but everything is still going according to plan, and it's not going to be an overnight recovery. And we've been fully honest and open about that. So it gives all of you yet another opportunity to build your microgrids while we're going through this. And you know, we don't really know how long it will take. I mean, again, that's not really a question we can answer. What we can answer is, everything is being done to support Peg, and it will be something that happens eventually. So, and just based on the math alone. And yeah, I mean, Honor vs. Madness is another avenue of providing revenue for Fusion that will help in that process. So, LA, do you want to expand on anything else about Fusion and PEG
Yeah, a
specifically?
little bit. Yeah. So I just want to share to expand a little bit in that it is an important thing to note that every day there is more EMP being sacrificed into Fusion, and a lot of it is coming from you guys that are BBEing. And that's important to note for two reasons. One, because everyone who is BBEing is having this amazing opportunity to build up their ownership percentage, which of course we want the people who have been here for the long term to be able to build up their ownership as much as possible before things really, really take off and, the whole world knows about Fusion. We want everyone who's been here all this time to be able to have this really deeply established position in Fusion, the type of position that they really want. But also equally important is we want as much EMP sacrificed into Fusion as possible before we regain PEG, because that's the way that we maintain PEG when we regain it. So I've seen a lot of chit chat over on Discord and stuff, and a lot of the questions and the AMA questions, which of course we're going to be happy to answer. And the overall tone that I get from a lot of it is that some people, not everyone, some people would like to see the team step in and buy us back to PEG. And it's very easy to predict what would happen in that circumstance. Because, yes, we do have a lot of the EMP in circulation already taken off of the market and into Fusion or in the treasury or some of the team wallets. And it's a great deal of the circulating supply, over 70%. We haven't done the math since then, so I couldn't tell you how much currently there is, because we've been too busy
More
to
than
do the
that,
math.
that's all I can
Yeah,
say, right? Yeah, so yeah.
yeah, more than 70%, but we haven't sat down to do the math since the last time we updated you. But there's still 30, sorry, I was going to say based on that stat, but there's still a good chunk left on the market. And as much as I hate to say it, there are still some people sitting on the sidelines who maybe were part of our community but don't want to get into Fusion, who are waiting to sell their EMP. And if we were to do that today, what would happen is we would get back to peg very temporarily, and then a bunch of people would sell their EMP, we would lose peg, and then we wouldn't have any funds left in our treasury to help build the ecosystem, to keep us healthy, to maintain peg, or any of the things that we're doing for any further marketing for Fusion, any of those things that are so important moving forwards. And so while it will take longer to chip away at getting more and more and more of the EMP sacrificed into Fusion on our way up to peg, that is such an important step to take. And it's one that I don't see many people talking about. It's really important to pay attention to, because the more EMP that is taken off the market prior to that final push back to peg, because it's that final, 30-40% of the way back to peg, where people who are intending to sell their EMP, who have been holding on to it this whole time, are going to start seeing those price points that they want to see and start selling. And those are the points in time where we really need to make sure that enough of the supply of EMP is taken off the market that it really won't have that much of an impact, right?
Yeah, no, 100%. And again, I think LA, the few points you just made are that are, absolutely most important is we have never provided exit liquidity for those that want to exit, and we're sure as hell not going to start doing it now. What I mean by that is, like, over the last 2 years, 2.5 years, we have been, extremely diligent in utilizing our treasury to have the greatest impact in the sustainability of the protocol overall. So, meaning we're not going to just do buybacks. We're not just going to, listen to a handful of people that may not be happy with the decision and potentially impact the longevity of the protocol and essentially ruin everything that we've been building and been doing over the last, 2 years. So that is kind of where we're coming from. And again, this is a minority, not a majority. And the majority of you get it. I mean, again, what we have now in place, even though PEG is still down and we haven't had the chance to fully recover yet, we are building an amazing infrastructure that is literally bulletproof. And we've said it again and again, but the math is unfuddable because eventually all the EMP, whether it's EMP that the Treasury buys slowly and methodically, or it's EMP that the community or new users buy, at some point, all the EMP in existence will be inside of Fusion. And again, that isn't reliant on new users. Obviously, it would be great if we had new users, but even if there is zero buying pressure, the Treasury will accumulate that EMP over time. And so we will get to this tipping point. Again, we don't know when. It could be sooner than later. It could be a little bit longer than we anticipate. But we will get to this tipping point where, like LA said, that the supply is evaporated and the demand will start growing. And that is when we are able to not only recover PEG, but maintain PEG. And that is what is most important. And again, I mean, the one key factor that no other protocol has that we do have is real revenue streams. And the more that we build through Universe Madness, healthy treasury, even going into this bull run, we could easily double or triple our own treasury funds just from the price appreciation of the overall market itself. I mean, all of that is again massive in terms of winning in the long run. So, yeah, all right, I think.
One more thing, I wanted to add as well is it's right now, if you're in the chats and stuff, it's pretty easy to kind of feel like it's been quiet on the surface. And we're going to go into this further. And even a comment by Neil says, the whole of crypto is flat at the moment. Wait till the big push, things will turn around naturally. Things are kind of quiet right now. But I don't want you to think that that's any indication that things have been quiet behind the scenes, because it's been the exact opposite of that. When it comes to Fusion, when it comes to Sparkswap, and developing this mega Dex and our new Dex on BSC, and all of the projects that you don't hear us talking about every single day constantly in the chats, it's because we're so busy working on them behind the scenes that we just haven't had time to chit chat about them unless someone's asking a specific question. And so don't take the lack of chit chat from our part about it in the chats and the quietness on the front end as an indication that nothing's happening or progress being made on the back end, because it is the exact opposite of that. So I wanted to mention that because that's an important note to make.
Yeah, no doubt. And again, we understand that, people can be frustrated. I mean, we saw it over the last year as we were building out the infrastructure, and the focus was maybe a little bit less in terms of what the public perceives on Fusion. But I can promise you, and we'll talk about this next, it's a perfect segue, with the team that we have built now, just because you don't hear us publicly talking about it, or maybe it's not getting as much love as we've given it in the past, that doesn't mean that any one particular protocol within our ecosystem is being abandoned or forgotten about or left behind. I mean, literally nothing that we have ever built has been abandoned, and we work every day to continue to make it the whole ecosystem even stronger by honoring everything that we've done and said we will. So, all right. That being said, LA, maybe let's go into the first topic today, and if you don't mind, again, just to save my voice a little, if you read and then I'll elaborate on the topics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I wanted to touch on the beauty of having such a big team. So, every time we do a big push for one specific part of our ecosystem, we tend to get a bit of pushback that we're not necessarily paying attention to other parts of the ecosystem. It happens every time. Um, but we wanted to spend part of today's AMA um, just kind of reiterating what I just said, you know, mentioning that behind the scenes, there's a lot going on. And it's the beauty of having such a big team and how powerful that is. So I just kind of wanted to go over how powerful it is that we have this ability to divide and conquer and make so much progress at once. So our EMP Jake has been busy with Fusion, building out some new features we've been alluding to. He's been coordinating with beta testers, and based on their feedback that we've had in our beta testing group, he has been working on getting things to the finish line. In fact, right after this AMA, we have a call with him to just finalize everything for that, now that the beta testers have given us all their feedback, and he's taken their feedback and tweaked things based on it.
Yeah,
Um,
let me interject really quick. Sorry, LA, because this is another really important topic. So, in terms of Fusion, we have been working on this battery, which we've alluded to a few times now, and some of the beta testers may even be in the chat tonight. Feel free to say hi. But just to give you an idea of how bullish this new battery is, the first reactions to the beta testers were almost to the point of like, is this even like is this even possible? So that just goes to show you that, again, I think that this will be a really great catalyst for peg recovery as well, especially with those of you that are listening to the AMAs and are fully tuned in and committed to the project utilizing this new battery. I think that will have incredible momentum. So just again, to LA's point, just because we may not have been talking much about Fusion with Honor vs. Madness raids, we are still running full speed ahead and doing everything humanly possible to continue to add, batteries and other mechanisms within Fusion that help get us there even quicker. So yeah, go ahead, LA. Yeah.
Yeah. And then just kind of back to the point of, you know, the team dividing and conquering. Dex CEO Jake has been working on the BSC Dex and the Mega Dex to get that to completion and making great progress with that. We've seen some recent Figma designs and had some great progress reports in our dev calls. And I'll just say, AJ, those Figmas are looking absolutely incredible, right?
Totally, yeah, 100%. So not only are we, and for those that don't know, Figma is essentially the wireframe and uh, visual representation, or thumbnail, or an interactive PDF of what the actual site will look like. There you go. Maybe that can help
Yeah.
you understand, but it's incredible, and we have to have detailed Figmas before we spend the time to actually code and then do Web3 integration, because you don't want to be redesigning your front end every time that you have, an update. So the Figmas are always usually first. And yeah, the design team and the front end developers under Dex Finance are some of the best I've ever worked with. And yeah, they're
Mhm.
looking incredibly bullish.
Yeah. And then obviously you've seen AJ and I have been focused on the Honor versus Madness private sale for the GrimGold token. And it's just really, truly amazing to have all these super strong players that can take on leadership roles and get shit done. We do truly have a team of full of leaders who are able to delegate, who are able to get shit done without being supervised, because everyone has, the ability to stay in their lane and get their tasks done with excellence. So it's amazing.
Yeah, I love it. I love it, LA. I used to have a sign on my desk when I worked in the corporate world, that said "Get shit done," and that is 100% our philosophy. We all have like others said, we stay in our lane. We don't have to be micromanaged. We just get up every morning and we deliver. And we've been so lucky to find other team members that have that same mindset, because I know all of you probably did a school project, or maybe you have to work with somebody that you don't like and they're always falling short or dragging ass, and then it makes you not want to work as hard. And we are the exact opposite of that. We push each other, and that really has helped us scale tremendously in terms of what we're doing. So yeah, I couldn't agree more. And then yeah, anything else, LA? I have a few other updates before we move to the next spot, but go ahead.
Yeah. Before we move on from discussing fusion, there was just a question in the chats. Do you mind just explaining the difference between taking EMP out of circulation by having it deposited into fusion and then burning EMP?
Yeah, absolutely. So we do a bit of both, but I mean, technically, burning would be sending the token to the burn address. There is already a substantial amount of EMP in the actual burn address. But when we say burn, a lot of that has to do with you trusting the smart contracts and our larger holdings in the treasury. And we've always, we've never ever done something that would go against that. So there is a level of trust even in a trustless, uh, you know, uh, uh, blockchain space. But again, EMP Fusion itself is a smart contract that you can see right now. It's the number one holder of EMP. And when we say burn, it really is a burn, because that EMP will never leave that contract. So eventually, all the EMP will end up either inside of Fusion, that smart contract, or part of the actual burn address. But either way, they are acting as a burn in terms of our total supply.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Cool.
So all right,
What
I
other
want.
updates have
Uh,
you got for us?
Go ahead. Sorry, Alec.
I said, what other updates have you got for
Yeah,
us?
all right, perfect. Sorry, yeah, sorry. It's my Telegram is doing robot voice again, so we're okay. Yeah. So I just want to make two other quick updates again. We are still supporting everything with Sparkswap and CetoSwap. Just not a lot of news on that front. A lot more development and V3 migration will happen when we have our mega decks. The only thing I did want to comment on is that for liquidity purposes, we have suspended the BNB side of the Manta bridge. Is that right, LA? I just want to give an update on that.
Yes, it's from. I'll have to look at my notes. Give me a sec.
Okay. So yeah, that is an update on Manta. Just interrupt me when you have it, LA. But and then we're also making major headway on the V3.
Manta BSC.
Go ahead, sorry, LA.
Yeah, Manta to BSC has been discontinued.
Okay, so yeah, there's other bridging options, but because of the low liquidity, we decided to remove that. And then what I was gonna say is we're making major headway with the Dex Vaults as well. For those of you that don't know, there was a brand new roadmap released over in Dex Finance, and we have some really bullish things in terms of the V3 Dexes and automated liquidity management that we'll get into when JTEO is more available in the next few weeks. We plan on doing another fireside chat to update everybody on all that. But yeah, the point is that everything that we have under our umbrella is being worked on. Cool. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. All right. Awesome. So, Ella, you want to get into what the major portion of today is, and that is the Universe Madness, private sale and the GrimGold token.
Sorry, I was talking unmuted, but I said mm-hmm.
I love it. Yes, lots to go over. Yeah.
Yeah, let's do it. We have some really awesome topics to go over tonight in regards to the game, the token, the pre-sale, the private sale. So we're gonna really dive into it.
I love it. All right, so let's start with a bang. We're creeping up to almost 50% of our total allocation being reached. Right, LA? I mean, that's amazing
Yeah,
to me. Yeah.
yeah, we're getting really close, and we just keep seeing those applications roll in one after the other. And I'm looking at that chart all day long. And going through it, coordinating with everyone as they reach out to me. It's been wild, honestly.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, as you all know, it's an extremely limited opportunity, and yeah, we've been seeing more and more interest, and that is usually how this goes. I mean, obviously, we want to give the priority to our EMP community first, and so we did that earlier on the private sale. But if you guys have still been sitting on the sidelines, I would say don't make that decision either way because at this rate, we could see the full allocation fill up. So now is the time before it's no longer available because there could be an instance, even though we have about 9 more days of uh, you know, leeway or runway. If we reach the allocation before then, we will close it earlier. So you
Yep.
want to go into that a little bit, LA? Yeah.
Yeah, so it always pays to, make decisions swiftly and take action when you have made a decision. And so, like I said, even when I go to bed at night, I wake up with 20, 30, 40 more applications having been filled out overnight while I'm sleeping. So they're really rolling in, and we are going to fill up sooner rather than later. We have more influencers coming on board. We had a huge group join today that has now come on board that we had been in contact with, and so yeah, things are filling up. And if you'd like to be a part of it, definitely fill out the application and get it in to me as soon as possible.
Yeah, awesome. Well, and two, I know we may get into this a little bit later, but I've seen some questions already. If somebody was submitting and maybe they are now even more bullish knowing a little bit more info that we've released, what is the best way for them to increase their allocation or their commitment level, LA?
Yeah, so please don't fill out the form a second time if you're looking to change your allocation. The best way is just to reach out to me through DMs. You should have already DM'd me to start a conversation. If you filled out the form, it did ask you to do that. And so we should already have a conversation going. And so just simply DM me and let me know where you're at. If you're wanting to change and up your allocation, just let me know and I can go and find your name on my spreadsheet and change your allocation for you. If you fill out the form a second time, it just totally messes me up. And because I've specifically asked everyone on the form not to do that, then you're maybe putting your entire application at risk.
Yeah, 100%. So, all right, awesome. And please also just be honest. I know FOMO can set in, but you're doing nobody has any benefit of saying you're going to commit more than you actually do. So just please, again, make sure that whatever amount you are committing to, you have the funds ready to go. And we have been spreading our spritz affiliate commission, if you are trying to bridge in or onboard Fiat, that is also an amazing option. And if you do it around now, you should have plenty of time to get in because if you're going through something that isn't Spritz, again, we love Spritz. So if you're trying to do it through Coinbase or Binance, it could take a long time, and we don't want you to be stuck having your funds held, and not being able to get in. So, and you posted that earlier as well, right, LA? Our Spritz link.
Yeah, it's also in the description of the video.
Perfect. All right, awesome. So let me go ahead and pull up this next slide. All right. So again, I still think a lot of you are getting it, but some of you still haven't had the light bulb moment. And I just wanted to really reiterate how what an insane opportunity the growth potential of GrimGold could actually be. And we are mimicking all the same rollout and tokenomics and timing and price points that these tokens have that have had proven success. And honestly, a lot of them have had this sort of success without even half of what we have and what we're bringing to the table. Again, the infamous example is Illuvium, ILV. Illuvium did about a 37x, and all they had to show was a trailer. So the whole idea is that we're actually building this game and we're already way ahead of schedule compared to these other projects that have billion-dollar market caps and nothing to show for what they're actually doing. So we're really excited for that. We'll be rolling out the studio announcement and hopefully a studio tour later this week as well. So the point is that this is actually going to be a game brought to market, and arguably that makes the growth potential even higher. But on average, we've seen a 400x, which means had you invested 1,000 and sold at the absolute top, that would have been 400,000. So again, not financial advice, but there is just so much upside potential. Other than layer ones and blockchain tokens themselves, game tokens and GameFi have notoriously been the largest rate of appreciation amongst all assets. So, Ella, you want to add to that?
Yeah. And one thing that impressed me the most is that, coming from a background with limited gaming experience, but having invested in DeFi projects over the last 2.5 years, um, outside of our own projects, it's typical, obviously, to see most DeFi reward tokens, do that traditional pump and dump right in the first few days of a launch. And most of these tokens, if you look at these sheets, it took an entire year or half a year in order to reach their all-time high. And I don't know exactly, like AJ, do you know how long it took after the token launch for Axie Infinity to launch their actual game? Would it have been launched within a year?
Yeah, so Axie was probably one of the only exceptions to the rule where they did have a game pretty much right when the token went live. But the other three, Gods Unchained, Illuvium, and Star Atlas, Star Atlas I don't even think is out yet. I think there is an alpha version you can play, and Illuvium literally just launched their game like 2 days ago. So that was over two and a half
Wow.
years of development. Yeah,
So here's my point. Illuvium, it took them 6 months to reach their all-time high. And, that was a year and a half before the game was even released. So
exactly.
there's so much speculation prior to the game release that drives up the price of the token. And that was something that I learned from AJ and the other team members very early into our conversations as we started to work on the game, which was quite interesting to me. One of the very first questions I asked them was, we're going to launch a token before the game is ready? Because that was totally new to me, but they explained to me about these other games and how it works, and it just, wow, it just blew my mind. But
Totally.
it's all part of the experience and what actually makes these tokens so successful. But in our case, but because we're already right in the thick of developing this game, Julius has been at the studio almost every day for the last week working with these guys. um, it's going to make us all the more successful with this, and not only with the token but with the game launch as well.
Yeah, no doubt. So again, just to kind of put a bow on all of that, I mean, yes, obviously having the token out before the game, a lot of these tokens, just like meme tokens or any blue chips, everything in crypto is narrative driven, and to be able to have a token out around the time that we are, again, the timing is epic on top of all of this because we usually start seeing the bull run kick in around October after the halving, and this is this coming October. And that is when markets are really starting to heat up anyway. So now we have a game that is a game token, again, GameFi narrative. Not only that, it's amazing assets from a AAA studio where you know the game is actually going to come to life. And now we have the whole wizard and uh, witchcraft, narrative around Halloween as well. So now we tap into the meme hype because everybody's looking for Halloween memes around that time anyway. And going into the end of the year with the holidays, the bull run, having a game that is going to be successful with assets and trailers and gameplay footage and alpha playable alphas. I mean, we could not have more going for us in terms of hype. And that is what really drives the X's that we see. And again, I mean, it's not uncommon for these sort of projects to be in the billions of market cap, which allows for such aggressive price appreciation. So yeah, really, really, really powerful. And yeah, again, just that we are contracted with a AAA studio. We hopefully will be able to announce that later this week. Julia sent some pictures today. Did you see those, LA, in our team chat?
Yes. Oh my gosh, it was so awesome. I was so busy today that I didn't have a chance to look through the video clips, but there were some great photos of the entire team together, which was so cool to see. And also, yeah, I won't ruin it. I'll just, yeah, I'll just let you wait to actually see them.
Yeah, no doubt. So hopefully, like I said, we should be able to share by the next AMA, and you know, we are officially under contract. Everything is signed. We This is a publicly traded gaming studio. You know, that's another really unique thing, and we talked about it in the AMA with Brown Gent. You know, typically when we see projects announce that they're going to build a game, it is crypto developers or amateur, you know, hobbyist developers building a game to fit their needs or their you know, narrative. In our case, we're actually contracted with a legitimate game studio that has experience building AAA games that have distribution. They're already on Steam. They've worked with companies like Netflix, Pepsi, Olay, Mitsubishi. I mean, again, they are an actual studio that will be putting this together, not some crypto devs that are reverse engineering a game. And that is, again, fundamentally so different than what a lot of these other protocols are doing. So, um, I could not be more excited. And we have the team and the resources and the experience to pull this off. So, all right, awesome.
Love it.
Yeah. Is there anything you want to add to that part, Ella? I'll let you go into the next section, or if there was any other questions before we keep going.
No, I think we can keep going and then we'll do a big question section at the end because I've seen quite a few popping up.
Okay, perfect. So, all right. So this is a little bit more some fun facts and more info on the GrimGold token itself. Um, Obviously, it will be, you know, the currency of the game. You know, not only are you going to be able to speculate on the price of the token, but this will also be a utility token as well. So those that want to actually play the game will be able to use this token to buy packs and be able to use within the game. Uh, and if you're, you know, if you don't know about crypto or don't really care about crypto, you still will be able to use fiat to play the game normally as well. And this again is so important because, you know, it's not reliant on the overall crypto market with the success of the bull and bear cycles. It's just more reliant on a really fun to play, you know, engaging game. So, all right. Does that help on that front, LA?
Yeah, a lot. Because I think we've had a lot of questions. I think that the bonus NFTs have confused a lot of people. And we've had people ask, is this sale, you know, are we buying tokens? Are we buying NFTs? Is it both? And so I think what you just said really helps to clarify it. You know, the Grim Gold is a token. It is the in-game token with utility, like you just said. And the NFTs you're receiving if you're contributing over $5,000 are a bonus. And I think AJ is going to go into that next based on what he's got on the screen. But yeah, we wanted to make sure that's really clear.
Yeah, totally. So the private whitelist is for the token itself, and like Ella said, that token will then be able to be used to buy, you know, the initial card packs, in the game, and you know, the base card set, the whole rollout again, and this will be more clear as we get closer to releasing the alpha, but the goal is to actually have this game be free to play, which means the base cards of the game everybody gets for free. And so the idea is that you want to buy card packs to get the more rare or the more powerful cards that you can then use to play, you know, and be more competitive within the game. And that model, you know, is known as a microtransaction model, where you're not spending, you know, 60 or $70 on a full release of a game. You are actually just spending based on, you know, the cards that you want, or cosmetics, or different time boosts all things like that that make it a much more better experience playing the game. So this is again much different than other games and has proven a lot more powerful in terms of generating revenue overall. And so, yeah, I just want to clarify really quick that you are getting bonus NFTs for contributing at the $5,000 level, and similar cards from other ecosystems. Again, this is just a comparison. Have gone for well over $50,000. So that's not a promise, but that just shows that you have a ton of value without ever even needing to sell your tokens. Or you can use those cards to actually play the game and be some of the only people in the whole uh, community to have those cards. So, all right, you want to go through a little bit of rapid fire on some facts, LA, about the alpha, the timeline. If
Yeah.
you read that, and
Before
then
before I do that,
yeah, yeah, go ahead.
before I do that though, can you go through the timeline? I think you're better at that than I am.
Yeah, for sure. So the alpha version of the game, um, we have been very aggressive in our timeline, and based on all that we have done and even accounting for, things going over time, we feel like we can have a vertical slice finished within about 8 months. So that is super powerful because that should be still getting in on the end of the bull run. And then when the full game is ready, a little over a year from now, then we will rely on all the fiat players that want to play the game and support the ecosystem, while we may potentially be in the beginning of a bear market when that happens. So the point is that during the bull market, we're taken care of from the crypto side, and during the bear markets, we'll have the fiat coming in to support the overall company. So does that make sense, Ellie?
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, cool. So, a couple more topics. Oh, I just lost my place. A couple more topics. Okay, here we go. There we go. Okay, so I want to go over a couple of these bullets and then add a little bit to it. So I had a question that inspired a couple of these topics here, and it was, okay, we're going to purchase now in the private sale, and then the TGE is all the way until October. And so it kind of spreaded this conversation, and then it was, oh, but then it's going to take another 8 to 12 months to get the game. How will the game, how will the token appreciate, and kind of that type of topic. So we did touch on this earlier, but appreciation of tokens, if you look at these similar game launches and game token launches, we are actually way ahead of the curve. And most of the big games whose tokens took off, they launched their tokens with only a proof of concept, as AJ mentioned earlier, and they hadn't started building their games yet, with the exception of Axie Infinity, as he said. So we're already in development with the game studio and building the game. And those games had their tokens reach mega highs long before their games even launched. With Honor versus Madness and the GrimGold token, there will be staking opportunities, and between the private sale and the TGE in October, we'll be conducting a massive marketing campaign, both with crypto and non-crypto audiences, and with gaming communities specifically. We'll be working with large scale marketing agency to help with social media, advertising, PR, KOLs, you name it. There will be a lot of effort put into a massively successful TGE, and of course, an extremely successful launch of the game every step of the way there and beyond. And I want to just kind of touch a little bit on what I was mentioning kind of clicked for me um, earlier, and why it is so insanely it's going to be so insanely successful that we decided to do things the way that we're doing them. I know we went back and forth a million times on how we wanted to do this, and we had some very bright minds, and we were very, very strategic based on a number of factors. And it is so insanely smart the way that we're doing things, to be quite honest, because I just want to paint a picture for you. Okay. um
I love it. I love it. It's story time with
this
LA.
just
Go
gets
ahead.
me
Yeah.
so fired up when I think about it this way. Okay, because we have this private sale right now, and we're literally only touching to our own community, plus the communities that have been the most supportive to us over the last 2 years. And those are the only audiences that are even finding out about Honor versus Madness and the GrimGold token right now, because our socials are still pretty small, and we are writing on our socials and building our accounts, but we're still in these beginning stages. And we're only promoting to our own community and these few communities and influencers that are helping us, who have been the most supportive of our community over the last 2 years, that we trust, that we handpicked, right? So we do this private sale on August 9th. And there's at least 2 months, if not, a week or two more, depending on when in October. AJ said it may be the beginning to middle of October, but we'll find out as we get closer. But at least 2 months, because October 9th would be the beginning of the month, until the TGE, right? Well, we have 2 entire months to work on a massive scale marketing campaign to everyone else who hasn't even heard of it yet. And so normally what happens is you've already done this huge marketing campaign with all these KOLs, and you've put out you've put out your feelers everywhere, and a lot of the people who wanted to buy would have already bought, which means that when it goes public, those people are ready to dump as soon as they've hit their 5 or 10x, and they're not people who are from the communities that have been your biggest supporters. Those are random people, right?
For sure.
So we haven't even touched any of those people yet. We haven't even mentioned this to any of those people. We haven't done a single ad. We haven't done a single marketing campaign to any of those people yet. All of that will come after this private sale. And in those 2 months, we are going to hit all the Twitchers, if that's what you call them, the
I
Twitch
love it.
gamers.
Yes, that's what we're calling them. Perfect. Yeah.
The gamers, the esports people, the online and the crypto and non-crypto gamers. We're going to do PR, we're going to do advertising, we're going to do social media pushes, KOL campaigns, and we are going to hit this everywhere. So people are going to be chomping at the bit to buy at TGE. It's not like there's this waiting line to sell, it's a waiting line to buy. And on top of that, with the added utility and the ability to stake your tokens and have passive income coming in, there's so many smart things built into this that are done in such a different way from the way that other people do things, that are built to help this succeed beyond measure. And if you look at what other game tokens have done and you see the results, even though they haven't done it nearly as wisely as this, like, this has the potential to absolutely go parabolic.
Yeah, 100%. Sorry, I was muted. Yeah, I'm fired up, LA, and you're 100% right. I mean, again, I just wanted to clarify a few things that you said. obviously, yes, the main revenue from the game will support the token, but we are so far ahead of that that and with our DeFi knowledge as well, no other gaming company or crypto project that puts a game together, they have not even 1% of the DeFi knowledge we have, and so the point, and I'll start from the beginning here. The original question was, if the game isn't ready for a year, how can I earn on the token? Well, like Ellie said, number one, the token price is massively speculative driven, and honestly, it's better for the token before the game is even live because that is the maximum effect of speculation. But on day one, we will be having staking options. And when we say staking options, even though, obviously there won't be revenue coming in from the game, we will be able to generate revenue in other ways. And, an example of that is with proper treasury management on the raise that we're doing now, we could potentially, triple or quadruple the value of our treasury from here until October anyway. And why that is so powerful is because now we're able to pay for game development. We're able to pay for all the advertising that LA said. Work with large firms, large KOLs. Really get on mainstream crypto channels to push the game. All the while, all of us are the ones that acted as the VCs getting in early, which means we reap the rewards, and we're not here to just destroy the protocol like a lot of other VCs to do. I mean, we could have easily raised $1 million through private equity that I have contacts with, but they want, multiples on their investment that at the end of the day only end up killing the momentum because, the only people making money are the VCs. So that was also a major part of what we're doing. And again, that's not to say that we're not going to make money, but now we're the VCs and we're doing it in a much, much healthier way. On top of that, we'll also have some unique staking options as well. So again, imagine being able to stake your tokens to earn more cards in the game, where now, even if you're not wanting to play the game, you can sell those cards to players that do want to play the game. And why that is so powerful is because now you're able to profit from the game without ever having to sell the GrimGold token. And all of these things combined are massive successes that we've had in our own ecosystems, and now we're applying that to this game as well. So those are just some concrete examples of what we're saying about the upside potential and the earning potential, even if we don't have a game for another 8 months.
Yes, for sure. And sorry, I don't think I explained the person's question properly, but they were asking um, if the game is going to take so long to develop after the private sale, will the token, will people feel like they need to sell when the TG comes? I think that's what the question was. And so that's why I was explaining about the marketing that's happening in between and how most game tokens launch long before their game is live.
Yeah, no doubt. And again, I mean that question, that's with any token. I mean, I know there's a lot of people that may have taken profits early on, these GameFi projects that then go on to do, multiple X's. And again, there's a wide range on that slide that we showed. Some take a few days, some, let me pull it up, some take, up to a year or more. So again, I mean, Axie, Gods, and Illuvium, they hit their all-time highs, months after TGE, if not almost a year after TGE. So you also don't want to be the person that is worried about the future and sells on the first few days because you can't hold that long. and then we actually do a 400x, and you are really upset that you sold too early. So again, not financial advice, but that whole mentality is just what you have to work through in crypto as a whole.
AJ, this is not planned for us to talk about next, but I think this is a great segue. And you did touch on this very briefly on the Brown Gents AMA, but can you go into the benefits of us having so much DeFi experience and what we plan to do with our treasury funds that will allow us to have a constant flow of income that we then can the marketing and the game development and all the stuff doesn't have to stop when the game launches. It actually can be ongoing without us ever having to sell any tokens on our community or anything like that.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is a major, major difference. So there's two downfalls with traditional gaming projects, no matter what it is. I mean, in the real world or in crypto, what happens is they raise a bunch of funds and now they have to build out this game and they spend all of their treasury on actually building out the game. And they, yes, they may do additional pre-sales or maybe assets, selling assets for the game. But that's not very powerful when you're selling something that can't be played right away. And we just see a downward spiral of, you know, spending all the money on development, and then now when the game finally does launch, the company is broke essentially, and then that requires you to oversell your NFTs, which then makes the secondary market value, worthless. And again, there's just a lot of bad decisions that snowball from there. So with our approach, we are using the funds collected. Yes, a lot of them will go into initial development, but because we're building the game over the next 8 months, we're able to use those funds to generate income of our own to support the protocol over the long run. So again, if we're with our DeFi knowledge to be able to generate, 100, 200K a month in revenue from proper treasury management, just from investments alone, that will carry over into development costs where we never have to touch our treasury, to be able to pay for things. So does that make sense, LA? Maybe you can go a little bit more into that, but it makes us very sustainable from day one.
Yeah, and I wanted to touch on that because I didn't want anyone to think, we do this private sale, then we do this big marketing push prior to the TGE, and then, we spend our whole marketing budget and marketing's just done. And we build the game and then we spend our whole development budget and development's just done because there's going to be ongoing marketing and advertising. There's going to be ongoing game development and additional card packs and exciting things coming out every 3 to 6 months to keep the game exciting and interesting and keeping people engaged and want to keep playing and attracting new players. And there's going to be these things that are ongoing, and a big part of what funds that is proper treasury management. And that's something that we have that most other games do not, because we have this extensive DeFi background. And not only the extensive DeFi background, but we do DeFi differently than most other DeFi projects in the way that we have the ability to do this. So
Totally. Yeah, 100%. And again, utilizing our own products to make that happen. Again, vaults are a great example of that. And so, yeah, I mean, that alone is powerful and creates a very sustainable model before we even sell one additional in-game item. I mean, that's just from the pre-sale alone. And with that, again, we're not making any guarantees or any promises, but that gives us a very healthy war chest as well to help support the price of the token after TGE and through the long term as we continue to move forward. Cool. All right. Um,
Awesome.
yeah. All right. So what next, Ellie? On to the
Yeah.
additional topics, or yeah.
Yeah, so one big topic that you should touch on is the topic of building a fun game first. So kind of flipping the popular model on its head. Do you want to go into that?
Yeah, I love this. So this again is fundamentally what makes us a game changer, pun intended. So a lot of the games that have become popular are simply popular because you can earn from them. So the original hype was around play to earn, but if you're actually earning from playing the game, it is no longer a game, it is a job. And so, that means that there are bots and, people from all over the world just all they do is extract value from the ecosystem. And, that can be amazing in the short term because it gets everybody involved. It skyrockets your engagement. But over the long run, that model is not sustainable whatsoever. And by, sucking all the fun out of the game and putting that on the earning potential, nobody actually cares about playing or developing a fun game. And so we're flipping that on its head. We're making a fun and engaging game first that people actually want to spend money to play because it's entertainment. And if they're able to earn off the NFTs or other in-game items, then that is just icing on the cake. So this is really powerful, and it will make us way more profitable in the long run and allow us to have an amazing secondary market value on the NFTs because we don't have to sell so many cards as a company, and we'll be able to support again the ecosystem with all that fiat and people not having to have the money leave the ecosystem.
That is such a mic dropper. That is so powerful.
Yeah, no doubt. And we've learned that firsthand. I mean, literally every single play to earn game has not been able to make it happen. So we're focusing on play to own, where yes, you are able to own your assets. That is what blockchain technology is built for. And we're doing it in a much more responsible way, uh, for the long run.
Yeah. And I loved something that Silverback actually said during his AMA with us yesterday. He was talking about his significant other playing a game on her phone and how he knows that she spends money to get ahead in the game. And even though the game is highly addictive and fun to play without spending money, he knows that she loves to spend to buy different things to get ahead
Totally.
in the game because the game is so fun and so addictive. And I think that is the aim here, to build that game that is so fun that it becomes addictive to play and that you just can't help it. You want to spend money on those microtransactions within the game because it just makes it more fun to get ahead and you love it.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, that is again part of the psychology that goes into good games as well. And we still will manage that responsibly. Obviously, it won't be done in a predatory manner. And you know, the other thing we balance is what we call pay to win, where the only way to be competitive in the ecosystem is by spending the most money. That will not be the case as well. So there's a lot of variables, but to Ella's point, yeah, it's about having more enjoyment in the game where, maybe you buy a killer new outfit or a killer new pet, or maybe rather than, having magic shoot out of your wand for killing somebody, it shoots out diamonds or, there's different things that we can have part of the microtransactions that people have no problem spending money on that make the game more enjoyable, but don't hurt the overall playability of the game either. So yeah, and again, a lot of other gaming companies and gaming projects that doesn't even cross their mind. All they care about is selling the most NFTs possible, or getting the highest amount of revenue. Yes, that's important, but you also can't do that and destroy the overall economy as well. So
Exactly. All
perfect. All
right.
right.
Uh,
Yeah, you
next.
you want to go into the next part about market share? And then
Yeah.
maybe if you do an overview, and then I'll follow up with some details.
Yeah. So the next part was, there's a lot of competition out there. There's a lot of competition for market share. How do we intend to capture that market share and have that hook? So we have different target audiences depending on what they want to do within the ecosystem. So, first and foremost, we build that game that is fun and engaging, like we were just talking about. And then working with the AAA studio, they already have distribution through Steam and these other platforms that we see for traditional gaming, which is just huge. Um, and so by not building the game ourselves and working with a proven studio, that will get those eyeballs and attention we want, especially in the beginning. And then it's up to us to capitalize on other things that traditional crypto games of this genre haven't done. And that's a big part of that is esports. We want to be able to promote Twitch streaming and competitive play and sponsored tournaments. A lot of things that other Web3 games have not done, we'll be able to capitalize on. And one thing that I really loved that AJ went into on one of his AMAs the other night, um, you guys know that we have so many great relationships with other crypto projects and other crypto communities. You see it right here this week as we're working with a bunch of different communities and influencers. A lot of them own their own projects. Um, AJ, do you want to go into your idea about sponsorships for tournaments?
Yeah, no doubt, LA. So again, this is something we've learned and are even bringing a brand new approach that nobody else has done, and that is through third-party sponsorships. So again, we see it happen all the time in traditional racing. For those of us in America, NASCAR, you see giant advertising all over the cars. World Cup, you see giant banners on the side of the field. There is so much money in advertising, and by integrating that into the game, and again, I'm not saying that we're gonna have pop-up ads that distract you or inhibit the gaming experience, but we're able to build an audience around the game and then do these sponsored tournaments where the prize pool is actually seeded from the sponsors. And why this is so powerful is that number one, it brings in a whole new set of eyeballs from those people's communities into ours. But number two, we as a company don't have to pay for the prize pools and the rewards. So it's a twofold win-win, and we think that that will be really powerful, with the amount of reach and the amount of audience that we will get. And as we continue to have a heavy focus on esports and streaming, that audience will only become more greater and greater, which therefore allows us to get larger and larger sponsors as well. And we all know in the crypto space, I mean, especially during a bull run, it is absolutely nothing for a larger crypto project to throw tens of thousands of dollars at sponsorship. So that I think is another really important factor.
Love it. And if there's anyone who's great at networking and uh, connecting with other project owners, it's AJ.
Right on. Thanks, Ellie. So yeah, we have all the relationships. We have the vision. We have the team. We have everything that we need to make it successful. We just have to deliver for sure.
Love it. Yes. So we did briefly touch on this, but we have kind of quite a few more detailed points. How do we prevent a dump at TGE from individuals who bought in the private sale once they hit their 5, 10, 100x? How will we create demand to get it upon to get in upon TGE?
Yeah, so we have a lot of different things. Again, we spent a lot of time going over it, but I'll kind of do a bit of a recap here. So, uh, this is something that we're planning for from day one, and you know, the number one way, and again, this isn't necessarily in terms of importance, but one of the ways that we structured the whitelist sale to begin with is to prevent the TGE. So typically, you know, you're beholden to VCs or KOLs that are buying these tokens at fractions of a penny, or in our case, yeah, a penny, because that is or what you're getting in on the white sale is a penny. But the point is that they're getting these massive discounts, and on day one, even at TGE, it's already, you know, potentially you know, a double, a triple, a 10x for the VCs. And so obviously on day one, they're taking their profit and they're dumping immediately. And so that, again, we've eliminated that by doing the whitelist the way we have. You are still getting a guaranteed discount of 10%, but the whole idea is that we're allowing the token to go up in value on TGE rather than having everybody unlock and dump all at once on TGE. And honestly, it just makes sense because, you know, very many few people are going to be selling for a loss when you take into account, you know, the taxes on day one. So, and you know, again, that doesn't mean to say that the upside potential is not there. It's just a much healthier way of releasing the tokens. So that's number one.
Can you
Yeah, go
can
ahead.
you back up a little bit I don't think you explained that one enough for anyone who doesn't know what that means, like how we're structuring that part.
Yeah, so, okay, so this is the whole thing all over again? Or, yeah,
Or just that we're not giving a huge discount. So you're getting a 10% discount by getting in on the private sale by
yes.
avoiding the taxes and fees. So that was the part that you missed.
Yeah.
Um,
So yeah, to that point, I mean, again, you know, typically a VC deal is a 5 or 10x on the launch price. That doesn't even take into account where the token might go after that. And so, you know, there's also very heavy vesting involved, so people don't want to wait for months to be able to realize their profit. If they're in profit on day one, then they're going to dump, and that's going to be it. So, and really, too, on top of all that, it's also about what Ellie was saying earlier about people that want to support the game or play the game, and maybe aren't as, you know, interested in the, you know, just selling and moving on uh, from day one. So, does that help? Sorry, Ellie.
yeah, for sure.
All right. Yeah,
Um,
and then some other points to make are, you know, let's just say it's not a giant discount, but we're hoping that the token pumps fairly hard because of that, and that will again help curb. And remember the buy sell tax on the token as well. If you're getting in the private sale, you are avoiding those as well. So and then number three. We have, again, extensive DeFi experience that most of the projects don't have. This means that we'll be able to, you know, generate real yield to support the token even before the game launches. So, you know, I think we did a really good job going over that earlier as well. You know, we don't want people dumping on our heads. That's another thing. I mean, a lot of times, why the token dumps right out the gate on TGE is because the team is the one selling. And again, they do that to pay for development costs, which we won't have to with our treasury management. So, again, does that make sense, LA?
Of course, yes.
Yeah. All right. Awesome. And so, I think that's really it. The only other thing was um, staking on day one as well, which gives you something to do with your token rather than sell it.
And then obviously the fifth one was the huge marketing push that we're doing to attract a gaming, a Web3 gaming and a non-crypto gaming crowd into the game.
Yep, no doubt. And we, again, Ellie and I have been in meetings with some of the largest PR firms in crypto that are managing, you know, blue chip projects. So when we say we're going to have marketing, it will be marketing unlike we've ever done before.
Ooh, just one more thing, because there was this thing that you said on the last AMA, and I hadn't heard you ever say it before, and it was so interesting about how when we start to implement fiat into the game, how that also supports the crypto side.
Yeah, no doubt. So again, a lot of times these gaming projects, which, again, I hate to make a comparison directly because I still am very bullish on the ecosystem, but Spinnerlands, because they had all of their assets in crypto, and there really wasn't a lot of fiat options for them. They when we went through the last bear market, they were impacted very heavily because again, crypto overall is going down, and if there aren't people, if people are worried about their crypto holdings, the last thing they're going to do is spend it on a game. Well, in our case, we are completely segmented away from the crypto market, and when we do end up going into a bear market, then we can really rely on the fiat income of the game to support the token and the ecosystem when we may not be getting a bunch of interest on the crypto side. So does that make sense for sure, Ally? That's a big
Yeah,
difference. Yeah.
yeah, love it. It's huge.
Cool. All right. Awesome. All right. You want to go into a little bit more about the call to actions, and then we'll get into some questions.
Yes. So just a few more quick bullets. Um, the private sale is nearly 50% full when it comes to whitelist applications. So once we do hit 100% capacity on whitelist applications, I am going to be reaching out to everyone to confirm their details and verify everything, and then I'll be shutting down the form. So if you're going to get in, make sure to get in soon. Um, if you already have gotten in, because we are about, I don't know, 8 days away, 9 days away, now is the time to start on ramping if you do need to do any on ramping. Because we all know, Coinbase, crypto.com, all those places, they love to put holds on your funds for 5 to 10 days. And it's super annoying. So now is the time to start onboarding. Don't say I didn't tell you so when it's August 11th and you're upset because you missed the sale. I warned you. Use Spritz, it's much quicker. There's direct onboarding right onto Arbitrum, which is one of the 4 chains. You can use USDC for the sale, and it's much easier. We do have a link in our description of the video. Um, this is filling up very quickly, and you will not be able to buy on the day of the sale if you have not whitelisted. So I just want to take a moment to explain to you how it works. You're filling out the form with your details. Um, on the details, it's asking you for a range of how much you plan to contribute. In between now and then, I'm going to be contacting all of you to lock down the actual amount that you plan to contribute. So if you've already filled out the form, it would be a good thing to start thinking about the exact amount that you plan to actually go in with on the 9th, because I'll be contacting you to lock that down. That will be the amount that you will get whitelisted for in the sale. You will not be able to purchase more than that amount, because we all hate when we get to a whitelist event and we think that we have a spot, and then the sale starts and we find out that even though we had a whitelist spot, it sold out really quickly and we didn't get a chance to buy. So what we're trying to do is prevent that. We are going to overfill by 10 to 20% just to cover people who say they're going to buy and don't show up to the sale, or just were spacing out and didn't pay attention to announcements. But we're not going to make it so that like a ton of people are getting disappointed on sale day, because that is the worst feeling in the world and we just don't want everyone to feel that way.
Yeah,
So
no doubt. Well, and on that note, really quick, sorry to interrupt you, LA. Yeah, that still though doesn't mean that there isn't some urgency, because remember, the alpha keys and the mystery boxes are limited. So, yes, if you're traveling that day, as long as you have the whitelist spot and we don't, sell through all the oversubscriptions, then you should be okay. But just remember, if you want the alpha keys or the mystery boxes, you should absolutely be ready to go on second one of the
yeah,
pre-sale. Yeah,
and there is a chance that every single person that signed up does show up, and there are a few people that may not be able to purchase, but we're going to do everything in our power to make it as fair as possible. And that means you filling out the form as soon as you can and getting your details as accurate as possible. um
yeah. Well, and too, just on that note, one last point too. I think people are I just want to be everybody aware of. So with the mystery boxes specifically, that is one of the reasons that we have done a $10,000 maximum per wallet. Because even if people are going with multiple wallets, they're gonna have to switch to their other wallet and submit that transaction. And that again, I mean, depending on the popularity that we're seeing, that might, give enough time for others that are only going in with one wallet to get those mystery boxes. So this is the most fair way that we have, come up with to do this. And, like Ellie said, we've seen a lot of other whitelists that go through this painstaking process of actually, hard coding the maximums. And then when you get to whitelist day, people can just buy 100,000 at a time. That is not at all what we are going for. So this is the most fair we can possibly make this.
yes. What else? Yeah, what else? We're starting to really see the light bulb going off in people's heads. It's like 1 second someone's mildly enthused and then they watch an AMA. I see all the dots clicking for them, and then they're like the most enthusiastic person telling everyone they know about this. It's happened so many times. I've watched it happen this week. The light bulb is really going off about
Totally.
how big of an opportunity this truly is to get in from the ground up.
Yeah,
If you
yeah.
haven't realized that yet, start watching some of the AMAs. One thing I didn't mention yet today is I've been working all day to take some smaller clips of some of the external AMAs that we've been doing that are some of the best questions that AJ's answered. So I am going to be creating a playlist on our account, because I know sometimes it's really hard to go and listen to hour-long AMAs here and there and there. So I am going to be creating a playlist with labeled questions where you can go and watch the answers. Go educate yourself, because I promise when it truly clicks for you how massive of an opportunity this is, there's not a chance you won't fill out that form and just be so excited about this.
Yeah. No, I agree 100%, LA. And even, I think another big thing that people maybe haven't realized is this is 100% under the EMP franchise. This is not a partnership. This is not, something that we have been asked to promote. this is something that we are building in-house. Again, I mean, obviously with the AAA studio, we're hiring them, but the core team is all part of what we've been doing over the last 2.5 years anyway. And from the crypto development side, it will be everybody under the Dex Finance and EMP umbrella. And the reason that's so important is because that we take security seriously. We've never had an exploit. We're not, going to disappear tomorrow. We are in charge. I mean, again, another really bullish aspect is even with some of the more integrated partnerships, or even some of the larger raises that we've done. Again, for those of you that have been here, you know what I'm alluding to. Even though we were so hand in hand in a lot of that, at the end of the day, we still don't have control. Well, in this situation, we have 100% control, just like as if we were launching Fusion all over again. So I just want to make that really clear. Does that clear, LA?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yep.
perfect.
Yeah. Um, what else? The AAA gaming studio we have behind us has massive connections for distribution, for marketing help with gaming and streaming KOLs. So that is going to be absolutely huge. We have everything in place to drive a ton of buzz leading up to the TGE and game launch. So all the pieces in place. Um, all you guys have to do on your end is fill out the form and get yourself ready. Um, with whatever you plan to go in with. Of course, our usual precautions. Please never, never go in with more than you can afford. And we do not recommend cashing out on your other EMP or Sparkswap positions to go in on this private sale.
Yeah, 100%. And again, everything that we're saying is for illustrative purposes only. We feel that we can absolutely do what we are envisioning, but just know that that's never, never, ever a guarantee.
Yeah. And so, just a couple logistical things. How it works is you will fill out the whitelist application form. When you have finished filling out the form, please make sure to send me a DM just so that we have a conversation started, because I will be DMing everyone a few days before the sale. And when I go to DM you, I want you to know that I'm not a scammer. And so if you've already DM'd me, we'll have a conversation going and you'll see that and you'll know it's the real me. I don't want to write that in our groups because then the scammers will see it. So that's why I have it written on the form, only to be displayed once you've filled it out. I don't think the scammers listen to this AMA, at least not an hour and a half through, nearly 2 hours. So I think we're good. Um, but yes, and then I will be messaging you to confirm your details. I will not ask you to click on anything, send me any seed phrase or anything crazy like that. So if you receive a message from a lookalike me asking you to do any of those things, that is not me. I'll just ask you to confirm your details that you submitted on the form and lock down your final number, and then give you some details about the sale to prepare for the night.
Amazing. Killer. All right. I mean, I really think that was an amazing overview. Obviously, I wanted to get permission from Julius before I shared the images he sent in our team chat this morning. So we have another meeting right after this AMA. But we'll, again, no problem, should be able to announce the studio and show some footage within the next few days, definitely by our next AMA, or on our AMA. That might be a great way to unveil that info. So just know that it is happening behind the scenes. We've already had about a month and a half of what we call pre-development. And that is where we, again, have been working with the team hand in hand already on all the concept art, getting, all the art direction nailed down, working on the initial concepts for all the different characters, all the concept art that you see in our trailers and our our advertisements and slides. So there is a ton of work already being put in, and that's only going to get more and more as we finish out the private sale and get ready for an amazing TGE, later in the year. So
Hell yes, love it.
cool. All right. Do we want to get into questions? Was there anything else before we get to that you wanted me to elaborate on? Go ahead, LA.
Yes, I am going to let you scroll through the chat for questions for just a second while I run off for 1 minute, and then I'll be right back.
All right, no problem. I saw one on another chat. I just happened to remember this. So, somebody asked if we would eventually offer nodes for the game. And obviously, we've seen nodes be really popular. In our case, our legacy contract with nodes. Obviously, those are being impacted now. So, the short answer is most likely no. If we ever did offer nodes, it would be actual nodes for running, our own GrimGold chain, if we ever got to that point. So, the short answer right now is probably not. But if we did, it would be real, validator nodes that would support the ecosystem directly. So, all right, hopefully that answers that. Let me see, let me scroll up one more second here. All right, so I think this is just a little bit more about, the sentiment. It says, you guys have been saying, we'll hit peg for weeks now, and yet we're still going down. Do you really think it's time to pivot to a game is smart? Do you really think pivoting
Oh,
to a
this
game,
one.
yeah, is smart? So, again, I think that this is somebody that just doesn't uh, see the forest through the trees. We absolutely are not pivoting to a game. We are building a game that is a standalone opportunity that also drives revenue right back into EMP Fusion, which will directly impact us getting to peg. So again, it's in how you want to create the narrative for yourself. You can spin it any way you want, but the reality is that this only makes Fusion and Peg that much better in the long run. So you want to add
Yeah.
to that, LA?
Yeah. Well, for one, we announced the game long before we launched Fusion, and everyone was aware that we'd be doing 10% revenue into Fusion, which is so exciting. But one thing I wanted to say is just kind of a build off of what we spoke about at the beginning of the AMA. And that is, there's going to be times of the year where one of our projects is in the spotlight when we're launching something, and it could feel like there's less of a spotlight on the other projects during those launch periods. And I want you guys to know that when we launch something new, it is never a pivot from the existing projects that we're running. We and AJ says this all the time, we would never abandon a project, but it goes so far beyond never abandoning a project. We're always building upon all of our projects. So, in the background, we are building this mega Dex, which is really going to be big for CetoSwap and Sparkswap. We are really building all of these new features for Fusion. There's not one of our projects that we are not currently building upon in the background. And so there's absolutely no pivoting ever happening upon any of our projects. And it goes so far beyond never abandoning any of our projects. There's never a moment when we're not building upon one of our projects. And so I just wanted to make that super clear. We do our best to always be transparent, but we do sometimes forget to give updates on projects when there's just not that exciting of updates to give if there hasn't been that much flashy stuff going on in the background, and it's just a lot of boring development stuff. But I did want to make that really clear.
Yep, sorry, I keep muting on YouTube and not on Telegram. So yeah, I again just to one more comment in that department. Again, I get it. A lot of other protocols will announce a game as like a last ditch effort to try to save themselves or generate buzz. I mean, this is the exact opposite of what we're doing. And, I know that all of us have been burned with that narrative on games that maybe never come to life, or when they say games, again, I touched on this earlier. I mean, they're games that are developed by crypto developers, not gaming studios. So they're games that are either a fork or reskinned from, a template. I mean, we use the word game very loosely in that respect. So this is completely different. And again, like Elliot just mentioned, if you go back and listen to some of the AMAs, literally a year ago, we always would announce that we have other things in the works that we haven't publicly talked about. This is the example of that. I mean, there are many things that we have had on the roadmap for a very long time that just never was the right timing, or we never had the right people in place to pull it off. And so over the last few months, that all has come together, and now we're more than confident that we can add this to the franchise and again make everything stronger together, not pivot our attention, and just do one thing from now on.
Yes, love it. Cool. Below that, I think we already answered Neil's question. He asked for a time scale on the game launch. I think you did a great job at that. Will GrimGold staking opportunities be available right away after pre-sale?
Yes, so again, we have lucrative staking options. Not only that will potentially be part of, rev share when the game kicks in, but also ways to stake and actually earn in-game items as well. Again, imagine being able to, those that stake a certain number of tokens get, a new card during a promo event, something like that. So when we say value, it doesn't necessarily just mean more tokens or more, revenue. It means actual items as well.
But to answer the question directly, not right after pre-sale, but after the TGE
Oh,
on day
sorry.
one.
Yes. I'm sorry. Yeah, LA. I forgot the first part of that. Yeah, on TGE. When we say day one, we mean when the token actually launches, not day one of the pre-sale or private sale.
Yeah. And then Crypto Pride asks, GuildFi?
Yes. Well, again, that is definitely part of the internal roadmap. We obviously the number one goal is to get a playable MVP. Having a great onboarding experience. Then multiplayer, and then yeah, after that would be guilds or other social aspects of the game itself, for sure. And for those that don't know what a guild is, it's basically a team that you can be part of, and either help fight together or represent each other in the leaderboards. It's just again like a way of integrating community involvement into the game as well.
Awesome. Could you please talk about the L1 Dex launch? Do we have any updates on receiving source code or anything like that?
Yeah, unfortunately, no updates. I mean, there is no other decentralized exchange that's been built. Again, being able to BS the market, because the code just isn't at a point that we can do anything. So, unfortunately, no updates on either front. I would say please reach out to L1X and get an update from them as well. That would be helpful.
Yeah, we haven't heard a single thing from their team in probably 2 months, 3 months, even maybe.
Yep, 100%. And that doesn't mean that it's from lack of trying from our side.
What's the details on the mystery box? Just the random card or other cards too?
Yep, so the mystery box is just a total of 3 randomly chosen cards. Again, there are 4 actual cards, but the middle 2 are an effect card. So you get one for the Shadow Realm and one for the Wizarding Society. But yeah, technically it's a total of 3 cards, and you will be randomly given one of those cards for every 5,000 or every mystery box that you have. So a mystery box contains one of those legendary cards at random, and we're hoping that we'll be able to have you open them even a little bit before the game is ready. So that will help on the secondary market.
And one thing I don't think we mentioned during this specific AMA, but those legendary cards available in the mystery boxes during the private sale will never be minted again after this round of the 125 from the mystery boxes. They will never be minted again for any other sales or bonuses or anything like that. That's it. So they have, that rarity and that value from being exclusive to this private sale.
Totally. Yep, absolutely. And that is, again, all part of our helping to support the secondary market. And we've seen these similar cards from, special events or private sales with low supply go for thousands and thousands of dollars.
Mm-hmm. All right. Will GrimGold be used within the game, and could you buy it within the game by passing a crypto exchange?
Yeah, really good question. So we do have to be a little careful because we're not going to be licensed as a crypto exchange. So there will be a third degree of separation from fiat and the token itself. However, we will have fiat options for those that don't want to play with crypto, and vice versa. So, you will be able to use the Grim Gold to get cards or packs, and maybe a bit of a discount as well. So there's options for everybody, but we will not be a crypto exchange.
Can you go a little further into exactly how GrimGold will be used within the game? Because I think a lot of people, that's not sinking in for them yet.
Yeah, so again, we'll have a full breakdown of the in-game economics. But the whole idea is that there's 2 sets of players. So the first player has no idea about crypto. Um, they care less. They want to play a fun game and they'll pay in fiat, and we gain the revenue as a company. And then there's the other side where people do care about crypto. They have Grim Gold already, or they know how to buy Grim Gold off the market, and they will buy that token to be able to buy card packs or other items in the game. Again, you will be able to buy uh, actual other NFTs or other skins or basically anything you'll be able to buy within the game, you can buy with Grim Gold at a bit of a discount. So, and again, there's some arbitrage there as well, where you know, some days those items will be worth more, some days they'll be worth less, and you're only able to buy on the market with Grim Gold. So it all the again same as eShare or any other currency within a protocol. all the economic value is withheld in that token.
Yes, awesome. That was a great explanation. I think that helps a lot.
Perfect.
When does it go live? Oh no. I saw another one, I swear. When are you adding PLS and HEX to the PERPS?
Yeah, so again, there's some bullish news on that front. For those that may have been a little more tuned in, we've been waiting on an Oracle, and we said that we may end up building the Oracle ourselves. Obviously, that would have taken more development time. We were working on it, but things took priority in the meantime. And one of the trusted communities within the Pulse ecosystem has come up with an oracle. So that again is a really important step. And I don't know if I'm even allowed to talk about it. So I don't want to say too much, but they are hopefully launching it soon. And once that's live, then we can maybe use that to integrate additional feeds on the perps.
Love it. Okay, there's a couple more on Discord that we'll hop over onto.
Cool.
All right. Could the team please allow microgrids to be settled in BNB as well as eShare, or let it be settled in BNB temporarily until more liquidity is added to eShare? Because eShare is triggering high price impact. Can you go into that?
Yeah, I mean, again, this is the chicken or the egg is the argument. I mean, we had it in BNB. We said we were going to go to eShare. Now people want it back at BNB just because they think that that is the reason that eShare is going down, and it's not. So, again, we are building liquidity. It's been a bit of a struggle because there's a lot of front-running bots on eShare, and no matter what we do and no matter how much liquidity we have on eShare, until we can get our own DEX up and running and be able to curb those predatory bots, we're in a bit of a rock and a hard place. So we're doing everything we can to do that. I would say, you shouldn't really be getting hit with price impact because you can buy microgrids based on the actual SAC points. So again, that that isn't the issue. There's no buying or selling of eShare when you're buying or selling of the microgrid. It just transfers the eShare to the new owner. Um, when you go to buy or sell eShare on the market, that is when price impact happens. So I would just say, number one, if you're selling eShare at these levels, you may be doing yourself a disservice, not financial advice. But number two, if you are getting hit with price impact, just sell a smaller amount every time. So, does that answer, LA?
Yep. All right. We did go over this at the beginning of the AMA, but I want this person to feel heard, so I'll ask their question. How are we planning to increase the price of EMP and attract buyers?
Yeah, so again, all the code, all the infrastructure, all the puzzle pieces, to quote my famous word, are there. I mean, again, we are doing everything we can to support the ecosystem. The game is a great example of that. Generating more and more revenue streams to support the price of eShare and the rewards and the protocol. But at the end of the day, it's also up to the community to continue to buy and sacrifice EMP to earn. So, you know, we have we we've gone over many things that are going to bring in more revenue, and that's really all that matters. Is as long as we have real yield coming in, the reality is that we aren't reliant on new users. But if we want pay to happen faster, then we have to get, more people joining the party, so to speak. So yeah, again, LA, I don't, you're always so good at elaborating on that, but I don't know if you want to.
I just feel like we did quite an extensive overview of it on the beginning. So
Okay, perfect.
yeah. This one is, can I ask to better understand what we're earning? I thought the real yield was a decent portion of earnings, meaning that a lower e-share price would hurt yield, but not by that much. However, I'm noticing that my daily rewards are less than what they were a few weeks ago. Is real yield decreasing?
No, I mean, the short answer is no. It's not automatic, so I mean, admittedly, with everything that we've going on, a lot of the manual injections may have skipped a day. But honestly, it's reliant on the price of each share. So even though the real yield is still there, if the real yield is buying each share that is then being sold and the price of each share doesn't go up and only goes down, then the dollar value will still go down. So, everything is still working as intended. Um, and, we're doing everything we can to get the other BSC decks up, so that we can avoid the predatory bots. And so, it's going to be, a bit of a long game, as we focus on peg recovery first. So, yeah, I don't know what more to say with that, but
Alrighty. Um, the next one we've already gone over extensively at the beginning of the stream, so I'm going to skip that one. Next one. Is it possible to see the on-chain transaction of when we use the BBE and when the BBE sells eShare to buy EMP? If so, can you demonstrate? Seems as if when I use the BBE, I only see an eShare transaction and not the buying of EMP. I know it's done under the hood, so maybe seeing on-chain is under the hood too. I'm not an on-chain pro, so I don't know where to look.
yeah, so we've talked about this a little bit on a previous AMA, but the BBE function is still somewhat manual, meaning if we were actually allowing people to automatically swap their BBE into EMP, then, eShare would be even lower because it's not something that we can control. So we as a treasury are still doing the buybacks. Obviously, we still have to lock up the EMP off the market, but we are doing it in a much more manual manner right now, just because we don't want to kill the price of each share even farther. So eventually it will be 100% automated. And once we have our own BSC decks, and can essentially have our own auto vault, that does this, then that's when it will be all on chain, and you'll be able to see it happen in real time.
All right. Okay, the next one I do not have an answer on tonight, so I will have to ask it next time and give an update on that after we have our meeting with Jake right after this. And the final one, any update on the super secret, super bullish battery for Fusion? I'm waiting to slam that buy button.
I
So
love
again,
it.
we're have a meeting with Jake and get the final kind of launch sequence planned for that. But AJ, anything else you want to kind of share about it?
Yeah, no, I mean, again, we had it developed, we ran into some potential things, and so we went back to the drawing board, but still with the overall concept, and now it's bulletproof again. So it is something that we're super confident in. It may be temporary. That's another caveat. just because we release a battery doesn't mean that we may have to, discontinue it. But the whole idea is that it is a it is a no-brainer that will not only help you as an investor, but also help the ecosystem. So I can't wait to release it because it's super, super powerful.
Yes, love it. Yeah, I'm really excited about it too. It's uh it's something that I was excited about as soon as the idea came up from you guys. So,
Yeah, and not only is it going to directly help EMP, but it will also directly help eShare as well.
yes, that is the key. That is the key piece of the puzzle there.
Totally.
Um yeah, I won't go into it further, but that just keep that in mind when we introduce it, to pay attention to those words.
Yeah, I love it. So, and again, hopefully, I know that we've been teasing it a little bit much, but we're hopefully gonna have it finalized literally within an hour. So, yeah,
Yeah, it and that teasing was not intentional. It's just that it's complex, so we have had to
totally.
make sure a lot of testing to ensure that there's just no way to exploit it. And you guys know that safety is always our number one priority.
Yeah, and even down to the way that we roll out the battery, it is so powerful that we wanted to make sure that we had the proper explanation of what the battery even does, because I think we may blow some minds with how beneficial it is, for sure.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for coming tonight. As you can see, there's been a lot going on, and so we appreciate you guys attending these 2+ hour streams to really fill yourselves in and get tuned into all the details of what's going on around here. As you know, we're very passionate about education, and taking the first step to educate yourself is always something that you'll thank yourself for, and we're appreciative of it, to not have to, answer the same question in the chats through typing 100 times. So we always love when you guys are here with us on the AMAs, and just getting to spend time with you also. So thank you for all your really great questions tonight, and giving us the opportunity to answer them for you. And if you need any of the details for the sale, all of the links are here in the description. And if you need anything else, just feel free to reach out to me on Telegram or Discord.
Perfect. All right, yeah. Shout out to everybody. Shout out to all the communities that have been really killing it on the raise, and all of our own community. If you haven't gotten your full commitment in, please get with LA ASAP, because the overall allocation may be gone before we know it. So don't get left out, and capitalize on the opportunity that we're giving everybody early. So. Yeah, and again, I echo everything LA said. Appreciate all of you being patient and understanding, as our schedules are a little bit different this week. We will be doing the normal time AMA on Thursday, and then we'll be ready to roll for the actual uh, private sale whitelist rollout on the 9th. So, all right, I think that's it. Any final words, LA?
Make sure now to mark the 9th in all your calendars so you're ready to go, guys.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Good night. Good day. We will see you on Thursday.